with all the strength from my ancestors from Nyahera in Kisumu, say this, that impeachment is not a political ritual. It is a constitutional trial. May I repeat this for members of the National Assembly? My senator from Kisumu is here. Impeachment is not a political ritual. It is a constitutional trial. So without procedure, the process becomes arbitrary, and this directly undermines constitutional supremacy. That is one. Number two, the rule of law requires procedure. Power cannot operate in a vacuum. The rule of law means that power must be exercised through known, predictable, and fair procedures. We are extending time for you till Saturday. No, we are continuing with the impeachment immediately, irrespective of whether you're present or not. That is rule by man, not rule of law. Failure to have procedural law in the context of this impeachment meant this, that we did not have clear, predictable rules of evidence. That is one. The burden of proof, if at all it existed, kept on being a moving target. There was no right of defense. It was never guaranteed in the first place. People wanted to finish with what they wanted to do and move on. There are no clarity in terms of timelines, fairness, or impartiality. This creates a dangerous precedent where decisions depend on political discretion, not law. The process becomes rule by numbers, not rule of law. And in constitutional theory, absence of procedure means absence of legality. May I repeat that? Absence of procedure means absence of legality. Number three, impeachment is a quasi-judicial process, not a political vote. That term quasi-judicial has been used a lot here. But what is exactly meant by quasi-judicial? In my other life, I'm a member of the Academy, and I see two senior members of the Academy here. They can confirm that, and may God bless them in advance. Professor Jenda, Professor Githu Muigai, senior members of the Academy. Quasi-judicial power means this, that this is the power to determine disputes or making findings affecting the rights of individuals, similar to the way courts operate. What was at stake during the impeachment? A validly elected deputy president of the Republic was going to be impeached. His rights personally and the rights of his many supporters, those who voted for him as part of a ticket, were going to be affected. The consequences are there in terms of the quasi-judicial power. The removal of a deputy president being a very serious constitutional action. It has consequences for the electoral will of millions of voters, stability of the executive, continuity of government. And because of this gravity, impeachment must meet quasi-judicial standards. Quasi-judicial standards, these are the principles of good governance. I don't want to go through the whole list, but again, members of the Academy, Professor Don Oliver has reduced the principles of good governance into four. Very quickly, these are legality, procedural propriety, rationality, and proportionality. The Oliverian quadrant: legality, procedural propriety, rationality, proportionality. When this court retires, we pray that you are going to consider those four principles. This process, as has been brought out by the first petitioner, do they meet the tests of legality? Do they meet procedural propriety in whatever guise? Does it mean rationality? Again, Professor Jenda should be familiar with Wednesbury degree rationality. That's a test.
Also address the court, not the Academy.
Most obliged. Most obliged. Most obliged. If I veer into the academy, please forgive me.